been several weeks, maybe a month and a half since I moved into Britain. Well, I can't say moved, since I found myself in Britain. In the last several weeks, a strange cold has moved in. It made me ill, and I haven't been able to work in the farm in that time. I've been relying on the gold that I have taken from my job, from the tailor, and honestly, since I've been unable to find any work, the sickness kept me quite weak. I took up begging once more. It was enough to sustain me, and honestly, I did have enough left over for a pretty comfortable living for at least a week, maybe a month more, depending on how well I fed myself. I decided to learn a few spells to assist in my recovery. Hopefully cure could do something for the illness I had. Protection to help me against further infection. The magic trap spells honestly just sounded useful. After my time studying, I decided to go to the Bard's College, a favorite pastime of mine for the last several days. I have been well enough to work, but plucking strings requires little effort. Sometimes it sounds alright. Sometimes not. After I was done, I returned the instruments from whence they came. They were nice enough to lend them to me. I thought better than to keep it. After a little bit of string play, I decided to go to the farm. I was told by the person at the field that I normally work for that I should see the plantation manager, a big house between two fields up against the mountains. The man's name was Nelik, and I asked him what had become of my position at the field, at which point he told me, "I've been let go. I no longer work there." I tried to explain that it wasn't my fault. It was the illness that took me, but he didn't care. A strange outcome for a man who is a resident of the city of compassion. Compassion. I'd be lying if I said I was feeling it now. I left there, somewhat downtrodden, and starting to feel a hunger in the pit of my stomach. I knew I shouldn't have, but in a fit of rage and sadness, I stole some food from one of the fields, a couple of pumpkins. I thought it would make for a tasty lunch, and I just didn't care about the consequences in the moment. Sitting alone in the forest, I felt like I could almost hear something there amongst the trees that had changed color in the cold fall. Nature spirits? Ghosts? Maybe it was my own mind speaking back to me, telling me, making me confront the looks of the people of the town. Ever since I woke up this morning, I've noticed a change, a shift in how they see me. Their eyes glance off me, if I'm lucky. Some look as if they want to actively hurt me, like I'm a drain on the town. I tried to clear my head by walking through the forest, doing what I normally did. I jogged. I ran a bit, picking up reagents, practicing my ability to hide amongst the foliage, and following the trails of the beasts, monsters, and men that walk this way. Useful skills, I think. I've gotten quite good at them. As I followed a group of trails, it led me to a large gathering of animals that seemed to be ignoring each other, looking for food. How much that meat and leather might be worth, I wonder, to the right person. How much feathers would gain a price. Lost in my thought, I ran into a strange creature. There's a large eyeball floating on the ground. I felt the cue of magic and ran before it could finish whatever spell it was trying to cast. And again, I remembered how dangerous these woods can be. Large wolves, small demon bats, giants. After a while, I ran into a familiar face. Cog, that green-skinned creature I met weeks before. I joined him in one of his favorite activities, fighting. While he was still much stronger and faster than I was somewhat pleased to find that I actually landed a few strikes of my own. Still, God mentioned that I was bad at fighting. But he had a slight smile on his face. I think he enjoyed that I was getting better. After training with Cog in the forest for a while, I went to the local Warriors Guild. If I was to leave this town, I would not be able to do it by myself, and I wondered if I could hire a sword to stand at my side and help fight off dangers on the road. A man named Hugo seemed to eye me not as poorly as the others, and offered to work if I paid him 60 gold a day. I considered his offer. While he was decently equipped, he was not the most skilled fighter there. I tried talking to some of the others. Philippe, while he was very skilled, didn't seem to care. Vera, when I talked to, had a different reaction altogether. I woke up in the healer's cabin, not far from that place. I was told Vera took great offense to me just talking to her. How much respect I lost in the eyes of these people. It was unfathomable to me at the time. Thinking about becoming a hunter for the leather and the meat, I decided magic probably wouldn't be the best way to go about it. Spell reagents are expensive for distance fighting. So I decided perhaps I could take up the bow. However, the ranger that owned the archery shop near the Mages Guild had little interest in talking to me. He wanted nothing to do with me. Only referring me back to the Cavalry Guild, and I was not in a hurry to get back there. Thinking perhaps I should report the transgression to the castle, I went there. However, the two guards locked their weapons and barred my entry. Sign on the castle making it quite clear why. Admittance was only permitted under appointment, and I didn't have one. Desperate for work, I decided to check out the local board for a job. It seems rats have become quite the problem here in Britain. While there was no gold in it, a small portion of rations was given to anyone that would deal with the menace, the plague of rats. I never seemed to mind rats much. Honestly, they never bothered me. They're kinda cute in a way. And they always seem like they're bathing, even if people think they're dirty. But I needed to eat. And so I took the job. For several hours, I hunted rats all around town. Even one in the cavalry guild, I tried not to look them in the eyes. I decided to test my spell work against one, and found that the spell was not that great compared to the mace that I held. After a while, I took my rations, some of the ale, and other liquors, and just sat at the park, thinking over my life here in the city, and how it was not exactly going according to plan. I've been here for some time now, nearly a fortnight. I know no more about myself than I did the day I woke up behind the inn. And the looks of people give me in this town are starting to wear on me. Even those here on the east side of town don't smile at me the way they used to. I'm even starting to wonder if the dogs can pick up on it. Still, they refuse to trust me. What was I before I became me? Before I lost my memories? Was I an evil man? I don't know. If I was, why would I want to be a healer now? It didn't make sense to me. I sat there in the park for some time, looking over what I had learned, practicing some spells. After a while, night fell. I sighed with myself. The wind was becoming quite chilly, and I decided to head home under torchlight. This was not my favorite of days so far. It was coarse, like a grindstone used far too often. Or not enough. But walking in the darkness, it was nice. There was something about it. Familiar almost. Comforting. Maybe I should try to leave. Pay that man Hugo his 60 gold. Or 120. Or 180, or however much he needed for me to get out of here. I wish I had a map. All I can do is follow the road if I do decide to leave. I returned to my room. It did what I normally do, before finally laying down to rest.